Where do we find God? Most of us cannot live in antiquated, beautiful old monasteries in the middle of nowhere. And even if we did, there's no guarantee we'd find God there. Find as we imagine. In fact, we wouldn't find God as we imagine there. We would find the complexities and burdens and cares of life inevitably coming to us in one shape or another. And that's why this particular Carthusian invites us in a little meditation of which the book is filled. You can just open it and, they're all gold. A little page or a snippet of a page that keep you going all day. Seek God in your acts, not in your mind, not in your imagination. So here goes. Seek God in your acts, since He is behind them all, and we are sanctified by the acts He wants from us. Do not seek Him in your ideas, by an effort of the head, but only where He is, for you. We so often seek Him where He is not, and naturally we do not find Him. Thus, when you are tired, for example, do not try to think things out by abstracting from the present moment. Seek Him in the tiredness itself, in the reality, by accepting wholeheartedly the situation as it is. God is there. He wants just that, and that is enough. It is the same with difficulties, with feelings of helplessness and the likes, and our lives, are they not full of these things? Otherwise, you will be making huge efforts and you will accomplish nothing. And thus, everything becomes an occasion for progress. Everything becomes living and lived. Everything becomes living and lived. Living through the presence, the power, and communion with God. And lived because we're in that moment. We're really there. And thus, we attain to a full inner life. We become temples of God. Absolutely beautiful. I love reading about these Carthusian monks. One can see them as like a real bridge between the best of the Western monastic tradition as lived in the Roman Catholic world today and the Eastern Orthodox hesychastic hermit tradition. Yes, definitely. It's interesting that they live a life. Here's their rule. This is in a remarkable book written about them. Highly recommend this book. It's deeply spiritual, not just like a boring biography or history. There is history in here, but it takes you to the Desert Fathers. It takes you to the hermits of the West and the East. It takes you to the anchorites. It takes you to the recluses, who were the predecessors of the Carthusians. It takes you to Saint Bruno succinctly, and his early followers, who were two of them. There were 6 initial followers and 2 lay people that set up the La Grande Chartreuse. 2 of those were from a monastery in France that had been set up by St. John Cassian. So one sees this influence of the East right from the beginning. Their idea of living in community was not was not the aim. The community is there, as the author says here, to support them being hermits. So they come together twice a day, not for eating or anything like that, but for 2 services in the day, which is the matins at night time. So they rise at 11:45, 12, followed by prayer deep into the night, which finishes around 3, 3:15. Then they have another rest. So it's like 2 periods of 3.5 hours of rest. And then the rest is basically work and prayer in isolation in their cells, and maybe some gardening out the back. Which, if you're living in the world of chaos and anxiety and frustration, sounds absolutely sublime, doesn't it? But of course, this is it also comes with issues and concerns and problems and the ticking of time and loneliness and doubts and memories and all kinds of issues that no doubt they have to face, obediences, giving their lives completely into the hands of their superiors and into the hands of God, of course. But let's return to this idea, just to finish, of this Carthusian monk here. Seek God where he is to be found, which is in our daily lives, in the concrete reality of our lives. The overly chatty neighbor, the unruly kids that we serve, if we're teachers, or I don't know, our own kids maybe. Whatever it is, the frustrations of being a householder in the modern world. I don't need to spell it out, but finding God right there is a life lived and a life living, alive with God and his presence, for he never fails to be present, even in this dark world, for precisely here he chose to incarnate. And I think for we who serve in the world, who have no option, and there will be thousands of us, we cannot simply go to a monastery. We cannot retreat from the world. And so we must invite the Lord to be with us in every moment of our lives, to dwell in the tabernacle of our heart, to become our monastic center in our hearts. And we will fall many, many times because there is not the infrastructure of support and peace that one finds in a monastery. There is not the stabilizers, as it were. I know what it's like to have those stabilizers, and it's very, very supportive. But, if one can live the life, and this author as well, he says it's not important that we are, from one day to the next, made into perfect images of Christ, become true images of God. What is important is that we're moving in that direction, because that is the direction of our lives, the trajectory of our lives. Not that we have to be there tomorrow or today. So much ego involved in that. There will be falls, there will be unpleasantness, there will be chaos, because it's part and parcel of the modern world. But as I was reminded this weekend by the monks down in Essex, God gives prayer to those who pray. God gives prayer to those who pray. The answer to our seeking God. And God, I think also God gives solitude to those who seek solitude. I prayed for a place of solitude. I prayed, Lord, make me a hermit. Lord, make me a hermit. When I used to visit the monastery of Mount St. Bernard regularly. It's only a few miles from my house at the time. I go there daily crying out to God. And now I have, if I so desire, a very monastic setup. Even though I have to still earn money, go into the world, serve people, the principal obstacle to my holiness He's not those things. He's not those people, but myself. But I think as long as we're prepared to get up, to keep going, to keep walking, to keep moving, we'll get there. With God's help. Amen.